Hello, and welcome back to English with Ease podcast. We are so happy you are here with us today for another practical English lesson. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Daniel. Here at English with Ease, our mission is to help you speak English naturally and confidently in real, everyday situations.
And today's topic is one that so many of you have been asking about. We are going to talk about apartment hunting, finding and renting your first home in a new city.
This is such an important topic, especially if you're moving somewhere new for work, for study, or just for a fresh start.
Exactly. And before we start with the vocabulary, I actually want to ask you something, Daniel. Have you ever had the chance to move to another city or even abroad?
Actually, yes. A few years ago, I almost moved to another city for a job opportunity. I didn't end up taking it, but I went through the whole process of apartment hunting online, and honestly, it was stressful.
Really? What made it stressful?
Well, I didn't know the area at all. I was looking at photos online, trying to imagine the neighborhood, and I had no idea what questions to ask the landlord.
That's exactly why this episode is so useful. A lot of our viewers are in that same situation, moving to a new city, maybe even a new country, and they don't know the vocabulary or the process.
Right? And it's not just about knowing words, it's about knowing how to actually have the conversation, how to ask, how to negotiate, how to sound confident even when you're nervous.
So today, we're going to cover all of that. Real vocabulary, real phrases, and a natural conversation style, just like we always do.
Let's get into it.
Okay, Daniel, let's start from the very beginning. When someone is moving to a new city, what's usually the first thing on their mind?
Honestly, the first thing is, where am I going to live? Even before the job starts or the semester starts, you need a place to stay.
True. And there are actually two paths here. Some people first stay somewhere temporary, like a hostel or guest house, and then look for a proper apartment later.
That's actually really smart, especially if you don't know the city yet.
Let's talk about that first option. What's a hostel exactly?
A hostel is a budget-friendly place to stay, usually with shared rooms or shared bathrooms. It's popular with students, travelers, and people who just arrived in a new city.
Right. And there's also something called a guest house, which is a bit more private than a hostel, but still temporary.
And of course, some people just book a cheap hotel for the first few days while they search for something permanent.
Let's do a quick shadowing round here, because these words are useful right from the start. Repeat after me. Hostel, guest house, temporary stay, shared room, private room, budget-friendly, short-term stay, long-term stay, check-in, check-out.
Good ones. Let me add a few more. Booking, reservation, walk-in guest, front desk, reception, available rooms, fully booked, daily rate, weekly rate, monthly rate.
Perfect. Now, here's something important. When you call a hostel or guest house, what would you actually say?
You could say something like, "Hi, do you have any rooms available for next week?"
Or, "I'm looking for a private room for about 2 weeks. What's the rate?"
And if you want to know more details, you could ask, "Is breakfast included?" Or, "Do you offer a discount for a longer stay?"
Those are such natural questions. Let's repeat them together. Do you have any rooms available? Is breakfast included? Do you offer a discount for longer stays? Can I pay weekly instead of daily?
Great phrases. Once you settle into your temporary stay, the real apartment hunting begins.
So, Daniel, let's go back to your story. After you arrived in that new city, even temporarily, how did you actually start looking for an apartment?
I mostly used online listing websites. You search by area, price range, and number of bedrooms, and it shows you all the available apartments.
That's the most common method now, but some people still use a real estate agent, someone who helps you find a place and usually takes a small fee for their service.
True. And in some cities, people also just walk around and look for a "for rent" sign outside buildings.
Very old school, but it still works in some places. Okay, let's do another shadowing round. Repeat after me. Listing, real estate agent. For rent sign, available apartment. Price range, location, neighborhood, property, building, unit.
And here's another set. Studio apartment, one-bedroom apartment, shared apartment, roommate, furnished, unfurnished, move-in ready, spacious, cozy, cramped.
Cramped is such a good word. It means small and uncomfortable, the opposite of spacious.
Exactly. Nobody wants a cramped apartment after a long day at work.
Now, once you find a few apartments online that you like, what's the next step?
You contact the landlord or the agent and ask if you can see the place in person. This is called scheduling a viewing or a tour.
Let's hear what that first phone call might actually sound like.
Natural conversation. Calling about an apartment. Hello, I'm calling about the apartment you posted online. Is it still available?
Yes, it is. Would you like to schedule a viewing?
Yes, please. Is tomorrow afternoon okay for you?
Sure. How about 4 p.m.?
That works for me. Can I ask, how many bedrooms does it have?
It's a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom and a small kitchen.
And what's the monthly rent?
The rent is $700 a month plus utilities.
What exactly do you mean by utilities?
Utilities means electricity, water, and gas. They're not included in the rent.
Got it. Is the apartment furnished or unfurnished?
It's unfurnished, but it does have a fridge and a stove already installed.
Perfect. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. then.
Sounds great. See you then. Great little dialogue. Let's break down a few key words from that.
First, available. This means something is free or open for you to take. An available apartment means nobody is currently living there.
Next, schedule a viewing. That simply means planning a time to go and see the place in person.
And of course, utilities, electricity, water, gas. Always ask if these are included because that changes your real monthly cost a lot.
Such an important tip. Now, Daniel, going back to your situation, when you were apartment hunting for that other city, did you ever actually go for a viewing?
I did once. I traveled there for a weekend just to see 2 apartments before deciding.
Wow, that's dedication. What did you ask during the viewing?
Honestly, I was a bit nervous, so I had a list of questions written down on my phone.
Smart move. Let's hear what a typical viewing conversation sounds like.
Natural conversation during the viewing.
Welcome. This is the living room. As you can see, it gets a lot of natural light.
It's really spacious. Is the furniture included with the apartment?
No, it's an unfurnished apartment. You'd need to bring your own furniture.
That's fine. What about parking? Is there a spot for tenants?
Yes, there's 1 parking spot included.
Great. And is the building safe? Is there any security?
Yes, we have a security guard at the main gate and CCTV cameras in the hallway.
That's reassuring. Honestly, I really like this place.
Would you like to move forward and sign the lease?
Yes, I would. What documents do you need from me?
I'll need your ID card, proof of income, and a reference from your previous landlord, if you have one.
Understood. I'll bring everything with me. Okay, a lot of new vocabulary in that one, too. Spacious means big, roomy. The opposite is cramped, which we already covered.
Proof of income is a document like a salary slip showing the landlord that you actually earn enough to pay rent every month.
And reference, that's someone, usually an old landlord or employer, who can vouch for you and say that you're responsible and reliable.
Reassuring is also a nice word. It means something that makes you feel calmer or less worried.
Exactly. Security cameras and a guard at the gate are reassuring for most tenants.
Now, here's a question. Once you sign all these papers, what document actually makes the agreement official?
That's called the lease, or sometimes a rental agreement. It's a written contract between the landlord and the tenant.
And what does it usually include?
It includes the monthly rent, how long you're allowed to stay, the rules of the apartment, and what happens if you break those rules.
Most leases are for 1 year, right?
Usually 12 months, yes, but sometimes you can find 6-month leases too, especially in bigger cities.
And what if someone wants to leave before the lease ends?
That's called breaking the lease. In most cases, you'd have to pay a penalty, which is extra money as a kind of punishment for leaving early.
Important to know before you sign anything. Let's do a quick vocabulary round here. Lease, rental agreement, sign a contract, break the lease, penalty, notice period, move-in date, move-out date, renew the lease, terminate the lease.
Good list. Notice period is one people often forget about. It's the amount of time you must inform your landlord before you leave, usually 1 month.
So true. Forgetting the notice period can actually cost you money. Now, Daniel, let's talk about something everyone secretly wants to know. Can you actually negotiate the rent?
Yes, in many places you can. Negotiate means discussing the price and trying to come to an agreement that works for both sides.
Let's hear how that might sound in real life.
Natural conversation, negotiating the rent. I really like the apartment, but the rent is a bit higher than my budget. Is there any flexibility on the price?
How much were you thinking?
I was hoping for around $600 instead of $700.
That's quite a big difference, but since you seem like a reliable tenant, I could offer it for $650.
That works for me. Thank you for understanding.
No problem. Let's move forward with the paperwork. Flexibility means the ability to adjust or change something, in this case, the price.
And reliable means trustworthy, someone who pays on time and keeps their promises. Landlords really love reliable tenants.
Daniel, if you don't mind me asking, when you were looking abroad, or even just for that other city, was the rent very different from what you're used to?
Completely different, actually. It made me realize how important it is to compare not just the rent, but also the cost of living overall. Transport, food, utilities, everything.
That's such a good point. A cheaper rent doesn't always mean a cheaper life, especially in a new city or a new country.
Exactly. You really have to look at the full picture, not just one number.
Let's also talk about the neighborhood, because the apartment itself is only half the story.
True. The neighborhood is the area around your building, the streets, shops, and general environment.
What questions should someone ask about the neighborhood, especially if it's a new city or country?
You could ask, is this area safe at night? Or are there any shops or markets nearby?
Or, how far is the nearest bus stop or metro station?
And if you're moving somewhere completely new, you might also ask, is this a quiet area or is it usually noisy?
Great additions. Let's repeat these together. Is this area safe at night? Are there shops nearby? How far is the nearest bus stop? Is it a quiet neighborhood? Is it close to my workplace?
All very practical questions. Location really is just as important as the apartment itself.
Daniel, one more personal question. If you ever do get the chance to move abroad in the future, what would you do differently with your apartment search?
Honestly, I would research the neighborhood much more carefully before even scheduling a viewing. I'd also try to talk to other tenants if possible, just to get an honest opinion about the building.
That's such smart advice. Asking current or past tenants is something a lot of people forget to do.
Exactly. The landlord will always say good things, but a tenant will tell you the real story.
Okay, let's also cover what happens after you move in. What if something breaks in the apartment?
That's where the word maintenance comes in. Maintenance means repairs and general upkeep of the building, fixing a leaking tap, repainting walls, that kind of thing.
And how would you actually report a problem to your landlord?
You could say, the tap in the bathroom is leaking. Could you please send someone to fix it?
Or, there's no hot water in the kitchen. Can someone come and check it?
Very practical sentences. Let's add a final vocabulary round before we wrap up. Maintenance, repair, leaking tap, broken switch, plumber, electrician, landlord's responsibility, tenant's responsibility, inspection, lease renewal.
Great list. Knowing who is responsible for what, the landlord or the tenant, can save you a lot of confusion later. All right, Daniel, let's quickly recap everything we covered today.
We started with temporary stays, hostel, guest house, private room, shared room, check-in, check-out.
Then we moved into apartment hunting basics. Listing, real estate agent, for rent sign, price range, studio apartment, furnished, unfurnished.
After that, we covered calling about an apartment and scheduling a viewing. Available, utilities, schedule a viewing.
Then the actual viewing itself. Spacious, cramped, proof of income, reference, reassuring.
Next, the lease and legal side, lease, rental agreement, break the lease, penalty, notice period, move-in date.
Then negotiating the rent, negotiate, flexibility, reliable.
And finally, the neighborhood and maintenance. Neighborhood, quiet area, maintenance, leaking tap, landlord's responsibility, tenant's responsibility.
That's such a complete picture of apartment hunting from the very first night in a new city all the way to settling into your new home.
And honestly, even though my own move didn't happen, going through this whole process taught me so much. I think it's helped me give much better advice today.
It really has, Daniel. And to all of you watching, if you're planning to move to a new city or even a new country, save this episode and come back to it when you actually start your apartment search.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, negotiate a little, and really research the neighborhood. It's completely normal to feel nervous, even for native speakers going through this for the first time.
Now we want to hear from you. This is our favorite part.
Our question today is, have you ever moved to a new city or country yourself? What was the hardest part of finding a place to live?
I'll go first. For me, I think the hardest part would be trusting someone I've never met. A landlord I only know through a phone call and some photos.
That's such a real answer. For me, it was understanding all the unfamiliar vocabulary in the beginning, which is exactly why I love that we're covering it today.
Tell us in the comments. You can write something like, I moved to a new city last year, and the hardest part was understanding the lease. Or, I've never moved before, but this lesson really helped me prepare.
Even 1 or 2 sentences helps you practice writing in English while sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We really hope this episode makes your apartment hunting journey feel a little less scary and a lot more confident.
If you found this helpful, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who's planning a move soon.
Have a wonderful day, evening, or night, wherever you're watching from.
Goodbye, and good luck with your apartment search.
Don't forget to subscribe.